Aloha, guys, and welcome back to Degree Free. We are your hosts, Ryan and Hannah Maruyama. On this podcast, we share the fundamentals we've discovered and the mistakes we've made while self-educating, getting work, building businesses, and making money. We'll tell you how to make it happen. No degree needed.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast. We're happy to have you here. Now, Ryan and I have a newsletter. What's in this newsletter, do you ask? Well, let me tell you. It's got degree-free news like companies that are changing their hiring policies for degrees, different interesting things and articles that we find in our weekly readings. Also, resources that we've found that really help people retool their skill sets if they're trying to get into new jobs, and just ideas for degree-free jobs and careers that you can have. You do not want to not get this email. So go to degreefreenetwork.com and sign up for the email that you do not want to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Definitely. And let's get into today's episode.
Let's do it.
Today, we are going to be talking about how to become a consultant. This is actually a question that we got from a listener. And it was kind of an interesting question because...
Well, he's working on his own stuff. This particular person was working on his own stuff, has a pretty decently successful YouTube channel, and was working part-time, and then asked me how he could become a consultant.
Right. And it's kind of an interesting question because to you and me, we're just like, well, don't just be one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, because, and that's a kind of a jump to the answer because that's the answer.
The answer for how to become a consultant is to become a contractor, because a consultant is just a fancy word for contractor.
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you are contracted to do a role in a business, and that's it.
Yeah, and you're basically as needed. So oftentimes what companies use consultants for is to improve an existing process or help create a new process. So let's say a company starts and it's a small software company, and they need somebody to go through and make user manuals for their software. They might bring in a user design consultant in order to help them create these user guides. If they don't have a YouTube channel to market their service, they might need a YouTube consultant, and that would just be a person who knows how to create and run a YouTube channel. It's really simple, actually, deceivingly so, because you would think a consultant would be something like it has that like affluent, like you think of Wall Street bankers, right? As like, oh, I'm a consultant, but no, it's just people that know how to do a specific thing most of the time, and then they're brought on by a company to solve a specific problem or help create a new thing that they need.
Yeah, it's very similar to becoming a 1099 contractor. Very similar, and then a lot of companies you end up getting a 1099 also, depending on how their contract is set up.
Yeah, you're just an at-will employed by them, basically.
I think the biggest thing, now that we've talked and said, okay, well, a consultant is basically a contractor, I think the biggest thing that we need to realize when thinking about becoming a consultant is that what you're really asking about and what you're really wanting to start is you're wanting to start a services business.
Mm-hmm. Based on you.
That's what
and what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're asking about.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to have to deal with all of the things that running a services business entails, or, all the troubles and all the good things that come with being a services business.
Yeah, you're now responsible for marketing yourself, making sales, closing sales, maintaining deals, and then getting paid for those things.
And then actually doing the thing.
Mm-hmm. And then doing the thing on top of it.
So you have to market it. You have to go out, get it, close it, write the contracts, sign the contracts, and then service the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you look at it in that light, it's super simple.
Very.
Right? You have a skill, an area of expertise that a business is willing to pay for,
mm-hmm.
that they don't have yet, or they need improvement in a certain area.
Mm-hmm. And you just happen to be good at it.
Right. And so to kind of use an example, you can if you're good with websites, say if you know how to do WordPress or even Wix or Squarespace nowadays,
Yeah.
to be honest, any one of those website builders, and say you're good at it, you can go around and you can sell websites to people. And believe it or not, that's a consultant, right? If you could say that you'd like to improve their website and, you specialize in restaurants or something like that, right? And so...
Now you're a restaurant website consultant.
Exactly. It's just fancy word salad,
Yes.
that, okay, your services business sounds good. Dude.
That would be a really good name for a business. Word salad consulting.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, none of you guys take that. It's mine now.
Fancy dressing included.
Holy crap. I want that business.
Yeah. What do you do?
Dress things up real fancy.
Yeah, exactly.
By optimizing the synergy of the logistics and the synchronicity in the individuals.
Exactly.
Across organizations.
Optimize cross-functional.
Ooh, whoa, cross-functional. I missed that one. The whole company just explains things in as complicated, long words as possible.
Right, exactly.
They only hire PhDs.
And that is basically what a consultant is.
Yes.
Like that's it.
Yes.
And it's not easy. It's not easy to be a consultant because now you're running a services business.
Correct.
Right. But okay, why would they hire a consultant rather than hiring an employee?
Because they're cheaper.
Because they're cheaper.
And you can let them go when a project is finished because that is the expectation.
Exactly.
And it's easier to have a defined goal. You say, I'm hiring you to improve this thing. And then once that thing is improved, they say, okay, bye.
That is one of the biggest differences I feel with the consultant and the employee, or even, to be honest, a lot of longer term 1099 contractors. Consultants, generally speaking,
goal oriented.
You are going to charge a lot. I hope for you that you charge a lot, but it's very goal oriented and it's very short or defined term durations.
Yeah, it's not like we're hiring you and we're going to pay you as a 1099 worker forever, for as long as we can. It's like, we need you to do this thing.
Exactly.
Do this thing.
So think about more in the realm of project management type of role. What I mean by that, or maybe not project management, but rather working on projects. And what I mean by that is like having a defined beginning and a defined end to that project. So you're going to come on as, say you're going to help us with what we do here at Degree Free, and you are a consultant and you want to help streamline the way that we edit our videos and, edit our whatever, our audio, right? You'd come in, you'd charge me a lot of money, and then you would make a system for me to figure out how to do it. And then that's pretty much it.
And then you'd be gone.
Yeah. And every once in a while I might have questions in which maybe I'll
bill an hour or two.
Yeah. Maybe
to sort something out.
Exactly. Maybe I'll call and you'll bill me a couple of hours.
Those are typically called maintenance contracts.
Right. But that's how simple it is to be a consultant.
Yeah. Just say you are one.
Right. But I think of the essence of the question also is like, I think the connotative meaning or the underlying meaning was just like, how do I gain experience in doing it as well?
Yeah. So for this individual, the one I spoke about who has experience creating a YouTube channel, I just said, showcase your YouTube channel and say, this is what I've done. Would you like me to do this for you? Here's how much it costs. That's consulting.
Right. And so you're going to want to build a portfolio of work. You're going to want to do all of the different types of marketing tactics that we've talked about before and we'll definitely talk about again. There's a bunch of different marketing books. we'll link a list that we did about the services business. We'll link a list of books in our show notes, things that helped us learn how to market and what marketing even is.
Yeah.
Really, because I had no idea what marketing was when I first started being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Most people don't.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't have that skill yet, if you don't have that portfolio of work, one of the easiest ways that you can do it, other than getting like a job, a W-2 job, you could start looking for contracts.
Yeah. So a really simple way to do this is look for short-term contracts and then make sure you document what you've done. And now you have a portfolio of work. If you do that, if you get, let's say you get three-month contracts in a year and you document what you've done, you now have a portfolio of work.
Yep, absolutely. And, I would just make sure that in your contracts, especially if you're doing something with design or media, you're going to want to make sure that you can display what it is that you've done and created.
Yeah, like legally, you want to make sure you can show it.
Right, exactly. And
oftentimes there's different there's differentiations. Like if you have a portfolio of work you did for a company, but another company you're trying to show it to them to get work, as long as there's no conflict, you can usually show the portfolio, because a portfolio is work. It's just proof you did work. It's not disclosing private information necessarily.
one of the reasons why we suggest kind of looking for contracts instead of going for a W-2 job when thinking about basically starting a consultancy business, right? Because that's when you're asking how to be a consultant, you're really asking how to start a consultancy business. The reason why, and we kind of went over it in last week's episode of like the benefits of being a contractor, but especially if you're taking on these shorter duration projects, you're able to kind of take on more contracts in a more condensed amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that could help vary, especially if you're thinking about doing something, I guess, dynamic. It could vary the amount of experience that you get. So what I mean by that is like, okay, we're on this example of websites. So, or even like, let's use an example of accounting, right? Instead of something creative or something like that. You, instead of working for the local bank as an accountant or whatever, you can try to contract for that bank, and you can try to get another contract to work for a local flower shop or something. And you can get experience quickly in both types of accounting.
Mm.
Although generally accepted accounting principles are
Universal. But it's a specific type of company would want to see a specific type of company on your resume often.
Exactly. And this case, it's not really resume, it's going to be your portfolio of work that you show them.
Like
whatever that is.
Look at how I created this streamlined payroll system for this florist.
Exactly. For a lot of people, that's going to be a pitch deck. That's going to be a PowerPoint or Keynote.
Also,
speech,
don't get intimidated by pitch deck or portfolio. Like if you just put photos of work that you've done into a PowerPoint, that is a portfolio. So don't, just for people who are like, oh, it has to look some kind of way, it's got to be printed. No, it doesn't. It needs to be shareable on the internet. So PDF, some kind. Make it a PowerPoint if you can't make it prettier, but you could also use Canva templates. A lot of them are free, and just use a pitch deck template and just plop your photos in there and write a little blurb, and then you're done.
Yeah.
If you want to feel better about your pitch deck portfolio, then look up some of the some startups first pitch decks, because you'll feel a lot better about yourself after you do.
Yeah, definitely. I think this one's going to be a short episode today. I think the last thing that I did want to talk about, though, is for a lot of people, this might sound like a lot. And then, which it is, to be honest with you, you're starting a business. But you might be wondering, like, how do I even get started? Or, like, how do I get my first client?
Mm-hmm.
Right? The truth of the matter is you're probably going to have to just make calls. You're going to have to send
emails.
You're going to have to send emails.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get out there.
You have to tweet at people. You're going to have to DM people.
Yeah, and you're going to have to figure out where it is that you fit in with their business and where the services that you offer can benefit them.
Probably the lower tier people that you can get here would be smaller companies that you genuinely like, and you have an idea about something that you think they could do better, and you are able to execute that idea. Like if you think they could be making their YouTube video format better, just send them an example. If you think that they should be tweeting more regularly and they should be tweeting things that are more relevant to their audience, put together an example of tweets and say, here, I can be your Twitter consultant. If they do not have an account on a social media platform that you use, then, and you notice, offer to be a consultant that will create that platform, create their presence on that platform for them. Those are really easy ways to start being a consultant.
Yeah, definitely. And, we're kind of focusing a lot on like tech jobs and content creation, but that's not exhaustive of the amount of things that you can consult on. You can consult on processes. You can consult on, anything, really anything, on manufacturing, how to make something better, assuming that you have that expertise.
Mm-hmm. As long as you know what you're talking about and you really can help.
Yeah. I mean, and that's right after marketing or right before marketing. Some might say one's more important than the other.
Yeah.
Really, ideally you'd like to be the best at what you do. But maybe a second best would be you'd like to be the best at marketing what you do.
Yeah. No, it's definitely that one.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think that this is a short episode. That's pretty much it. We just kind of wanted to, since it was a question that we got, and it was kind of like I was like, oh. It's kind of a weird one because like you and I, a consultant is just a business person.
Right.
They just run a services business.
Yes.
That's to you and me.
Yeah.
But that's how simple this is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's definitely not easy, as I say all the time. It's not easy, but it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to start your own business. You're going to figure out what it is that you want to do. We did a whole episode on how to start a services business. Go back and listen to that, and see what you can glean from it. The biggest thing after learning it and picking what it is you're going to consult on, you've got to market. Yeah,
because people got to know what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
If they're going to buy it from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't buy from you if they don't know. All right, guys, I think that's it for today. As I said, we do have a newsletter, and I promise you that newsletter is pretty great, and you're going to want to get it. So it's going to have all kinds of stuff, degree-free news, degree-free job ideas, resources that we think are really valuable. And you are going to want to sign up for the newsletter by going to degreefreenetwork.com and signing up.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys made it all the way through, which I hope you did, because there's a really short one this week.
You get a gold star.
Yeah. Let us know. Contact at degreefreenetwork.com. Just if you wanted to ask a question or say hi, definitely that's one of the best ways to get in touch with us. You can follow us on social media at Ryan K. Maruyama for myself, at Hannah Maruyama for her, and we'll throw it up on the screen and everything like that. Please like and subscribe, guys. We put out an episode every week. And we'd love to have you as a regular listener, watcher, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Definitely, if you guys can leave us an honest review, that would help out as well.
Honestly, 5 stars.
Honest, yeah. Honest, we hope we deserve 5 stars.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's a 1,
we'll only cry about it for like
keep your hands in your pocket. You're good.
There we go.
Yeah, we're fine.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time, thank you so much. All right.